All right. What's happening, everybody? Massive energies are coming down. Powerful, powerful, powerful times. Let's give it a minute or two, let some people get in the house. Welcome, everybody. It's amazing times, trying times. I woke up this morning. I've been getting up early, working on the Soulology Fest, working on the Soulology Network. And I worked for, I don't know, probably 2-3 hours. And then I got hit with probably the 6th or 7th massive lucid dream. I was forced to go lay down, and as we are, and it was unexplainable. I had a cup of coffee, I did some work, then I just knew I had to go lay down. I laid down, I immediately went into a lucid dream. The lucid dreams have been so clear. The messages have been so clear. I still haven't shared some of the lucid dreams I've had in recent days. And but the one I had today was very emphatic. And it came from the Mother Goddess. And that's who I work for. And it was a powerful, powerful transmission. She took me into the real world that we all live in. And then she would drop me back into this world. And then I was standing in both worlds. And I kept asking her, what can I do? What can I do to further the cause? What is it that any of us can do as we experience all these massive downloads that we're initiating from our own hearts? And it was quite profound, because in this lucid dream, in the story of the lucid dream, which was so real, because I woke up literally bathed in tears. In fact, at the end of the lucid dream, my vision was split. In the lower part of my vision, I could see this like this grid, and I recognized it. It was a pattern. It was a pattern that I was familiar with. And what was happening was I was in the lucid dream with everything that was going on in the lucid dream, which, as I understand it, was reality, our true timeline. And then out of the corner of my eye, I could see this pattern, this horizontal pattern. And I quickly realized that when I woke up, that it was the window blinds in my room. So my vision was split. It was, it was in the lucid dream primarily, but in the corner, like a diagonal triangle was coming up in the corner, and I could see the blinds. I didn't know that's what they were. I just saw this horizontal pattern, and I could see the blinds out of the corner of my eye. And then when I woke up and kind of came to, I was crying. I had tears all over my face, and my heart was shaking, and my cracked open again, but in a wonderful, beautiful, profound way. It was painful. It was bittersweet. It was deep. It was deep. And in this lucid dream, it was kind of taking in all the information and coding that had come in over the previous 4 or 5 days. I would say probably since about the 15th, 16th, 17th, and here we are 18th, and it's a new moon. And so in this lucid dream, I went into this lucid dream, and I was in a familiar state. It was strange, because the lucid dream had this ambience, this atmosphere of a pure reality, and in the pure reality, there was no discontent. There was no fuckery in the air, you might say. And I was walking, and I was carrying all my possessions, as I had done a few years ago, for a number of years. I was pulling a suitcase on wheels, and I had a briefcase over my shoulder, and I had a backpack, and I was watching my loved ones. I was watching quite a few of, I would say probably 8, 10, or 12 of my loved ones, and some people associated with my loved ones. They were all in this room, and they were kind of like just hanging out, sitting around a table. It looked like an office or a restaurant or a coffee shop. And I was just watching them. And it was like I was that dude in Interstellar, at the end where he's in that tesseract and he's trying to talk to his daughter. And it was like that. I wasn't like reaching out to him and trying to, make noise or push a book off a shelf or whatever. But I was looking at them, and I was wondering why I was homeless, why they couldn't see me, or why was it that I couldn't be with them. And so I did in my dream. I said to the Mother Goddess, I said, Mother Goddess, what's going on here? And she said, everything's okay, son. Everything's all right. I said, well, it doesn't feel all right. I can see that the world is okay. I can see that everybody's happy. I can see people in this room that are not the closest of friends. Yet they have there's no discord between them. I can see that they're all operating in love, and in an atmosphere of love. They were eating, they were laughing, they were talking. And yet I was on the outside looking in. And I was in a distant place. And I was definitely on the earth. And I watched him for a while, and as I watched more and more of my loved ones, children, partner, people on the peripheral, like cousins and just different people, friends and friends of the people that were in the room, I could see that they were all really, really unaffected as we are affected in this world by all the conditioning and all the things that we believe are real. And so I just kind of realized that I couldn't be seen. And I decided to just start walking, because that's what the mother said. The mother said, son, just walk. There's nothing to worry about. And I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how there could be nothing to worry about if I couldn't be with my loved ones. And something in my heart was very, very pure. Like everything was okay. Like her voice was coming like a speaker from my heart. But I still couldn't understand why they couldn't see me. And then I started walking, and I was walking in the bottom of like a stairwell, like a stairwell that goes into an office building, and then someone very dear to me came to me. I'll just leave it at that. And in that moment, we connected in a way that is really almost incomprehensible. And I felt a huge merging, and I experienced it. And then after that, another scene appeared, and I was alone again. And then I went walking a little bit more, and then all of a sudden this person came back. And I said to him, "Did that really happen?" And she said, "Yes, it did." And I couldn't understand why I couldn't remember. It was almost like it was a traumatic event, like when a traumatic event happens and we black it out. And so we spoke a little bit, and that's when I woke up, and that's when I woke up in tears. And I could feel the energy on the earth, and I could feel like this massive influx of reality hitting me, and as the individual goes, so goes the collective. So I knew that something huge was happening. So, I went to the bathroom, and I washed my face, and I laid back down, and I figured I probably ought to try to connect. And so I did, and I asked the Mother Goddess, and I said, "Mother Goddess, what does this all mean?" And she said that what I was experiencing, and what I believe many of us are experiencing, conscious or not, and she had a little bit of intel and a little bit of advice, and I believe it's something that's meant for everybody. It's not just some guy, Todd Medina, right? So what she was saying is that, everything's backwards. And that what had happened in this lucid dream was a great healing. That in these lucid dreams and in these moments through meditation and dimensional experiences, we can reach each other. And she explained to me that in this dream, my human was conscious. And my human was bringing all of its questions and all of its curiosity and all of its wonderment. And my soul was guiding me, just like it's starting to do for all of us in this life. And she was telling me that although it wasn't explained to me in the dream, that through the experience, the exchanges happened and the code exchanges happened. And she was explaining to me that I was interacting with the souls of these individuals who walk the earth as my family and my friends. And that I had, brought into alignment or awareness how much they actually love me and how much I love them. And that is the place to ground and to found myself. That it is not an external type of message or reception of code or energy that we think that we can get in our external existence or in our human conscious awakening existence. She said, these moments we can now take command in these dreams and in meditation and in dimensional experiences. We can be conscious and we can merge like never before with the souls of others. This is what she told me. She also told me that as we were expanding, through our internal work, she explained to me that the distortion is expanding too. This distortion of this grand design that we all have a part of is expanding too, and it's pushing us as a catalyst further and further into the recesses of our mind. The recesses of a mind that had been fragmented through all of our parallel experiences and alternate experiences, all created by the thoughts that have become things. These thoughts that have become things in these alternate timelines that we've been pulling back in and realizing that they were not who we are or what we are to each other. And she explained to me that there are certain things that we can do. And I know people have talked about this. I'm just getting on here today because she told me you need to speak. And so I hope this helps some people. But she told me this is a real thing now. She said for the next 7 days that this is a real opportunity to become more conscious as our souls in our physical awakening state, and to become more conscious as humans in our soul state when we're in dream state and we're in dimension and we're in meditation. She said there are things that we can do and that we're on the right track, and that to pay attention to the body, to really listen to the body, because the soul is integrated into all the cells of the body, and through its acknowledgement and through the recognition of it from ourself, we turn on these things at a cellular level, and an atomic level, and a subatomic level, and a molecular level. And she said, you don't have to do the things that you've done before. You don't have to eat 3 meals a day. You don't have to take in a lot of food. This is the time to kind of lighten up. This is the time to merge with water and consume it as it is yourself, as it is her. She told me this is the time that we can remove these habits and these patterns, and some people might call them addictions, that we're receiving more support, you might say, and more reciprocity than we ever had before, but it still takes a conscious action by the human being. We receive these downloads and transmissions, and we come into a greater state of awareness, and we know that we have these habits and behaviors and patterns that distract us, and we make excuses, and we build stories so that we can still do them. Oh, just a little bit longer. Oh, just a little bit longer. I can smoke a little bit longer. I can drink a little bit longer. I can overeat a little bit longer. I can distract myself with human physical sex a little bit longer. I can put off that conversation with another person where we bare our souls to each other a little bit longer. And she told me very emphatically, you need to get up and talk about this. And you need to let your brothers and sisters know, and yourself, because the message is for me, and I understand that. Any download we get is meant for us, regardless of what benefit it may have for other people. And she said, don't be afraid, be brave. And being brave is speaking from the heart, really speaking from the heart. She said, you cannot find your way to me, to yourself, to wholeness, if you can't be authentic and vulnerable and transparent with yourself. And a great way to do that, she said, is to do it with each other. To just bare your soul with each other. To speak of all things and anything. And as we do this, and we kind of work through what's illusion and what's real, just like this experience that I had where she showed me that world I was walking in was the real world. It wasn't about the scenes, and it wasn't about the words that were spoke, or even the mergings or the interactions, engagements that took place. It was about the atmosphere. It was about the feelings. It was almost like the cosmic pixelation. It was almost like the cellular of the whole environment as a reflection of my own body from within. And we all, and this applies to all of us as I understand it. She said, this is a band of frequencies, is the way I would explain it, like the band of frequencies of color and vibration and resonance and rays and sounds. She said it's a wordless way to align, is to listen. That's why nature is so important, because we can walk in nature and we can kind of merge and assimilate and align with the sounds, and nothing has to be said, because it in and of itself brings alignment and a greater awareness and understanding. So, I guess I would just stress that she told me these next 7 days, and today's the 18th, and I know it's the 19th in the I know it's the 19th in the southern hemisphere, but she told me through the 25th, which I understand is a 777 day, that we have a great opportunity to align ourselves and to immerse ourselves in this new Earth atmosphere. I don't know what the hell's going on here. But I just feel a lot of energy just popping in and popping out. And I'm assuming that this has to do with what's, I'm not even looking at Lionsgate, and I'm not even looking at dates anymore, because from what I'm gathering, every single day is a Lionsgate, and it is a 7/7 day, and it is Easter, and it is all these benchmarks that we've had. Every single moment is the eternal moment, and every single moment is a gateway and a portal and a stargate, and we contain these things within ourselves. And I know this might piss off some of my friends that are deep into astrology. These things were guideposts. These things were like books. These things were made. These things are not bigger than we are. We don't necessarily need these things to feel into this truth. There's a lot of ways to try to explain it, and I know there's going to be more coming, because she told me this. She said, that functioning in this illusionary realm with these things that we think we have to do, she said, this is bigger than that. It's bigger than, getting on and with, your things in life where you've got to go do this and you got to go do that. She said, take the time now, take a moment, take many moments now, and just bask, bask in that band of frequencies, that ever expanding band of frequencies. And she told me very clearly that there is no old earth, and here she goes, there is no new earth. We are all of these things. We are containing all of these things. We're containing the astrology. We're containing the universes and the multiverses. And I know this sounds pretty wild, because it was wild for me. I mean, I woke up just bawling. But something huge is happening. She told me to honor triggers, to treat them with reverence like you would treat her. She showed me her feet being anointed. She said, take the triggers on with that type of reverence, as if you were anointing my feet, or having your own feet anointed, and the reverence you would have for that person or that energy that would be anointing your own feet. She said the world is revealing itself and has been revealing itself, and that we are still working our way out of it. In other words, we're hanging on to things where we're seeking this external validation, and it's understandable. We're weaning ourselves from the pacifier of this matrix. And there's so many subtleties in this, and every thought that we have and everything that we go set out to do and everything that we say. She said she's fully permeated throughout the entire grid. She's fully expanded, and we're walking in this, and this is us. We're one and the same. We're made in her image, and that we're not going anywhere. All these narratives don't matter anymore. The Anunnaki, the spaceships, all of this stuff, whether it be something that we considered benevolent or malevolent, something that was highly critical or benign, these are all different systems of coding. All of this information, all of these things are memories. All of these things are meant to take us back to the one place, because all these doors end up closing, and there's only one door, and that's where we are. And it's right here. It's right here. The mind is a very, very integral part of this, because it was the mind that got fragmented. The heart didn't get fragmented, and the soul didn't get fragmented, but the vehicle of the mind got fragmented. And we've worked our asses off to get back to a more holy and whole place. And she said, don't give up. You're right there. You're closer than you think. And I'm not one to make predictions, and I'm not one to speak like this. I have a lot of people on the show that do, and I respect and honor them. But we are in hallowed ground now. And she kept telling me one thing over and over, and she kept saying to me, this is the message. This is the message. She said, there is nothing that can supersede love. Nothing. No matter what the situation is, no matter what's going on, no matter who pissed you off, no matter what the government did to you, no matter what. She said, in every moment you have the conscious power to declare your love for that which antagonizes you, for that which makes you uncomfortable, just as we do in those moments when we have a shared love and it's mutual, that love that we can't always sustain. She told me, you can literally be the love that you are at all times. And it may not make sense, and it may not put money in your bank account, and it may not put food on your table. But by doing this, by having the faith, by going against the grain, by defying what we thought was reality, and being in love and be love, is what she kept saying. You don't have to go do anything, just be love. And I know this sounds like a cliche, but I believe that if everybody thinks about this whole journey that we've been on, especially this month, and especially the last week or so, and as we head into this next week that she's talking about, and I know people have come on the show, and a lot of people have talked about it. There was a 777, obviously on July the 7th, another one on I think the 16th, and then this 7-day period ends on the 25th. So I would just restate it, that she basically said every single thing that gets a hold of our mind, every belief system that we want to take on, every thought, rationale that we want to utilize to tell ourselves so that we can buy another day of being a human being in a distorted field, can simply be replaced by the love that we be. Now, I don't understand all this, but I do know one thing. I know what love is. And I know the power of it. And if we think about our lives and we think about what got us here, how many of us followed this guidance that only we knew and only we heard, a guidance that made us feel like we were crazy, a guidance that estranged us from our families, a guidance that moved us out of our homes and our jobs and the conventional wisdom of what is a normal life. And I've said for years on the show, this is where all the crazy people hang out, because crazy isn't crazy anymore. It's time to stand. Stand tall. All of us. Because we're like beacons. Never before have we had this level of accessibility. And it's contagious. It's the real virus. Fuck COVID. And anything else, any other fuckery, any other threat. You know? This realm has produced not just fear-based programming, but savior-based programming, and they're one and the same thing. And one of the things that's occurring in the realm right now are self-righteous, highly moral, highly ethical movements that in and of themselves are no better than those on the opposite polarity, things that we would look at as very dark, things that we would never associate with. We are the 0 point. We are divine neutrality. And as I was saying a couple of days ago, there is no other space but the 0 point field. There is no other space but the soul highway. Everything else is a house of mirrors. And from this message that I got from her through this lucid dream, she explained to me that we are that which we have sought, and we're in a unique situation. We're in a situation that's never occurred before, where we're actually in a physical body that's gone through this whole experience, which has happened before in other multiverses and other universes and other constructs, but we have never gotten to this point. Now, certain souls have, and we might call those souls Buddha or Magdalene or Jesus, and many that we don't know. But this is truly the second coming. This is the coming where there are many, many, many of these souls that walk the earth, that have gone against the grain, that have defied conventional wisdom and societal norms. And that's what I was mentioning earlier, is that we all have one thing in common. We can prove it. And I can name so many people that have come on the show, and so many people in these communities. I can go right down the list by memory. People that 20 years ago left their homes and left their families and were estranged and lived in a room in somebody's house and did grid work and connected and anchored with the Mother Goddess and infinite intelligence and Father God and our highest attributes of self, of soul, of spirit, in anonymity, without notoriety. I mean, there's so many of these people, and we all followed this internal guidance that made us do crazy, crazy things. And look what's happened. We're all meeting in the middle. We're all here together, and regardless of what's going on or not going on in the global stage, in the collective, doesn't matter, because we have one thing in common. And although we might still have work to do, which is questionable to me after receiving this information from this lucid dream, because what she was explaining to me is that our limitations, our thoughts that it's going to take a while, that a big ship takes a long time to turn, isn't necessarily true. And she kept repeating to me, you're a lot closer than you think. You're a lot closer than you think. You're a lot closer than you think. And you know, she explained to me that we are literally walking in two worlds, and that we will literally be having these very, very real experiences, such as these types of lucid dreams. And I know many people have talked about it. And to go with it, and to remember that as we, in this moment, because there's no reason to wait, when we remove the distractions, and we stop making excuses. And I know that sounds harsh, but when we stop putting things off, I mean, how many people here, I don't even have to ask, how many people want to get to the promised land now? And then how many of us, me included, even though we've made a lot of progress, still distract ourselves a little from here daily through our thoughts? She explained to me that a distraction is when someone or something is put before you that makes you feel uncomfortable or triggers you or pisses you off or angers you or upsets you or whatever the case is. She explained to me that that is a distraction. Now, the presentation of it is not the distraction. How we take it on is the distraction. What we think of that person, the snap judgments that we make, the imagination running wild. These are distractions. And that's not a judgment. That's just reality. And she was explaining to me that we can make this choice in the moment now. We don't have to worry. We don't have to fear. We can make this, we can all love now. We can love everything, anything, and anyone in the pure divine love that we are and be. And that you know, there are not going to be any attacks. There are not going to be any harm done to a soul. That's impossible. That we have journeyed in deep into not just a multidimensionality, but a multi-shattering of our mind. And we pulled enough back now, and we've done enough internal work now, as reflected by the energies coming out of the sun, as reflected by the Schumann, by reflected about these by all these things that we look at. But those are not the barometers. The real barometer is right here. The real barometer is self and the universe, one-on-one, where we can't bullshit ourselves, where we can't make an excuse because so-and-so pissed me off and so-and-so did this to me or that was done to me. When, you know, we're above this now. We are souls. We are eternal souls in the flesh, spirit flesh. And we are powerful universal generators. And in this space where we have taken on this physical form to create what is already inside of us, the sacred union that we are doing it with each other. And the road to unity consciousness, the road to oneness, the road to oneness with each and every thing in one starts with two. And it doesn't mean just one other person. It means on a one-to-one basis. As anything and everyone is put before you every single day in the different ways that come, okay, that oneness can be met. That oneness is a conscious acknowledgement and being of love. So think of the people that you just can't see yourself as. Think of the political issues that you can't see yourself aligned with, you know, be it political or social or religious or whatever the case is. It doesn't matter. The entire space is the 0-point field. The entire space is a soul highway. The entire space is a divine neutrality, and we contain that within ourselves. All this other stuff was suggestive programming. We are no more blocked in our bodies than the narratives that we buy. This is why the healers that served us so well up until this past year. This is why the self-sourcing has become so important. Yes, we're to help each other, but not to hold each other up. We're to help each other by self-sourcing, self-healing, self-aligning, self-trusting, self-respecting, self-loving, and through that example and through that reality of our illumination, we don't have to say anything to anyone else. We don't have to train anyone else or instruct or teach anyone else. We just be who we are. Because it's not necessary for the soul, for the human to have to hear and comprehend. It's just the soul. The soul hears and sees and feels, which is probably the best sense of it all. Everything. The soul feels everything. Every single thing. The human feels it, but the human is standing with the soul. And there's some human programming where we feel this and we feel that, and we're getting in touch with this where that doesn't feel good. I'm not going to do it. Yes, I get it. That's the soul. But at the same time, we're still susceptible to these belief systems if we buy into these narratives that it's going to take a while to heal and this and that. We have instant manifestation through a conscious choice of being the love that we are at all times. And again, does that put money in your bank? Does that put food on your table? Does that put a title on your desk? No. Because we have it all. These things that people talking about, well, you do this and you do that and things will just kind of happen for you and the next thing you know, you're on a beach sipping, cool coconut water and you got your feet up. There's some truth to that. But the reality is this whole formula that we have to do this and do that, and each one of these steps creates a right or wrong or win or lose. This is a false narrative. The entire realm is me and you. Everything we see is me and you. And everything that we see, everything that we know, is me and you. And the entire thing is divine neutrality, is the 0-point field, is the soul highway. The only thing, so to speak, that's keeping us from it are these beliefs that we have, these narratives that we hang on to, so that we can rationalize and substantiate our existence and our position. Everybody's, if there is no forgiveness, because there's nothing to forgive, then there is no pain and there is no suffering. And we can point to this person and that person and this situation and that situation. Believe me, the world is sticking it in our face. But the understanding that we all chose to come here, that we're all responsible for not only our lives, but everything going on in the world. And this is what was amazing in this experience that I had through this lucid dream. She was showing me like the mechanics. And that's what we're coming into, is, like I said before, that we have this window where we can expand, and all of our senses, both the 5 senses and all of the, what we might call the non-physical, etherical, light body senses, whatever you want to call it, soul senses, whatever you want to call it. So that when we are in dream state, we're in meditation and we're in dimension. And that doesn't mean that we're out there in the ethers. We're standing right here, and that the human being can be at such a level consciously that it's in alignment with the soul in those states, and can fully extract and understand and receive the codes that are being put before it. And by the same token, that the soul can have that same level of consciousness while the human being is in an awakened state. So it's 44 minutes and 44 seconds, and there's 144 people in the house. You can fucking not make this shit up, okay? So you can call me crazy, you can call me cool, you can call me philosophical. That's an old poem that I wrote. But I'll tell you what, I am soul. I am soul, you are soul, and soul is the God, goddess. And we're not going anywhere, and I don't care what information any of us have received. We are right here, right now. This is heaven. It's always been heaven, if that's what you want to call it. This is the only reality there is. Everything else is just a mind fuck. Okay? But that doesn't take anything away from the connection that we have for the love that we are, the love that we be, and the love that we are with each other. And where two or more gather is a powerful, powerful thing. Because one aligned, fully awakened, fully aware human, what we would call human, where the soul is fully conscious, which is what she's saying in the wake state, can run an entire universe. Imagine what two can do. So I invite you to explore and to explore, yourself, explore ourselves, explore the idea of a different method. I hear so many people talking about, and even in my own head, oh, I got to go do this and I got to go do that. Well, why do we need to do these things? Why do I need to have car insurance? Why do I need to follow these rules? What am I afraid of? All the different ruleless rules and lawless laws that we have. Why do we need to do these things? Because somebody is holding something over our head. And do we realize the power that we have is right here? And we just say, no, I will not participate. Will I go to prison? Will I go to jail? Will I be arrested? Will I be homeless? Will I be left out in the middle of nowhere? Well, whatever. This is the capacity of the soul to know that nothing can touch me. But on the other hand, on the other side of it, it's also the capacity of the soul to look at the other and say, we are one. I love you. I feel you. I feel everything that you are feeling. We don't have to say the words. We don't have to have a discussion to materialize or bring to the surface those things that are discordant. We can sit with each other. We can sit with each other in the physical space or not. And we can connect and we can be the love that we are. I don't understand totally this whole succession of successive lucid dreams that I've been having. But I do understand that there's something massive happening. Because the first ones I had a few days ago were 3 dreams in one night, where I was given a key of the 3, the 6, and the 9. Each one of them was a separate dream. And the dreams from there have all been about rectification, reunification, reformation, resurrection, whatever you want to call it, rebirth, whatever you want to call it. But it's clear to me after this lucid dream that just came out of nowhere today that we don't have to wait any longer. And I don't know what it all means, but I do know that I trust the Mother Goddess. I trust that which created us. I trust creation. And the words of creation have come in the form of the guidance each and one of us have received on an individual basis that have brought us all together. After all these years, what are some of the main statements that people that have come to Soulology say? They say, man, I didn't know that there were people like me out there. Well, we're all coming together now. We're all coming together, and I would encourage all of us to come together in small groups, come together in medium groups, come together in large groups. It doesn't have to be Soulology. Wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you feel that you're supported, okay? Wherever you feel that there's no agendas, wherever you feel people are putting their best foot forward, where people are telling their stories, where people are being vulnerable and discussing their fears until they are no more, right? Just like forgiveness. Forgiveness is a tool until there is no forgiveness left. There is none. It's not even part of our real essence. It's not unnecessary because there's no affront against anyone or anything. This is a nature that is not natural to us, to impede on other people. And let me make it very clear, because this came through in a lucid dream just 2-3 days ago. Thoughts of judgment, they are an affront on another soul and on your own. And I speak to myself because that's where the message came to, and I speak to everybody else. Because thoughts are things, they truly are. And if we can get our thoughts right, we don't have to worry about the words, and we don't have to worry about the actions, because they will take care of themselves. And the other great thing about it is the world that we wish to live in will present and manifest itself by the thoughts that we have, and that's the truth. So when we want to make judgment about somebody, catch it, pull it back, turn it around. Is it going to happen instantly? Maybe not the first time, but it will if you keep working on it and keep working on it. Thoughts are things. They are. And they hurt. Just like words and just like actions. We're responsible, accountable, conscious, quantum thought co-creators. And certainly creators. So, in our own space, we can create this environment right now. We don't have to wait. We don't have to go take a course or a class or listen to a lecture. We don't have to do this. We can do it right now. And it sounds corny, and it's totally different than what's going on in this world, right? But this is our natural nature, to be the love that we are. And that starts with the love we have for ourselves. So if we're not a 10 in self-love on a scale of 1 to 10, that's okay. That's the first part of the vulnerability, is to admit that we're not 100%. I wasn't 100% today. That's another thing. We don't flip a switch and then everything's fixed and you've cleared this and you cleared that. These things go on infinitely. We are infinite. We go infinitely inward. These things are beyond our comprehension. So, thoughts are things, and I'll just restate, I think the main thing that the mother said, there was a lot of things that she said and showed me, but the main thing that she showed me was that over this next 7 days, there's an opportunity, and part of that was in terms of what our body was saying, because there are things that we can take into our body that make us more dense, and I would just kind of like sum it up by things that distract us, whether it be whatever that may be, and that can be thoughts. When we have a thought about let's say about a person, a judgment, we can let that go in equilibrium and say, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't cool. I'm just going to go back to love. I love that person, whatever the case, however you do it. But if we keep it in our field, that's just like eating something that's heavy and dense. We keep it there, and it just weighs us down. But what she said was that we have an accessibility in our meditations, in our dimensional experiences, in our dream state, where the human is conscious at the level of the soul and can comprehend and receive and access and expand from the experience at a very conscious level. These lucid dreams I've had over the last few days, I could verbatim tell you what they are. Okay? Except for one. And I will tell you, I know why that happened. But the rest of them I can tell you verbatim. The other things that she said is that just as the soul is being embodied, or is embodied, always was embodied into this body. This is the soul. This is just one version of it, right? Just one way to look at it. But just as the soul is embodied in the human, and we're starting to be aware of that, and we're starting to function as a soul in a physical body, you might say. And so the soul is kind of taking over. The soul is, you could say, by some metaphoric definition or description, that the soul has walked in, but it never had to walk in, because it's always been here. It's here. This is it. But just as what's happening to us in awakened state is also happening to us in these dream states, meditation, and dimensional states. And she made it very clear, as long as we are rooted here on the earth, to go out here and to go out there and go do these things is not leading, or is not being embodied. To have these experiences and be cognizant and aware and be walking on the earth, okay, is important, is what she said. Okay, and I'm just passing this on. Take what resonates, and just remember, we're souls, and we're all love, and we know what that means. Not this I love you, lovey-dovey-doo-doo, but really, really fucking love you. We are love. Period. There's nothing that can stand between us. So let's do our best. I'm going to do my best to be vulnerable, to be transparent, to be brave, and to be the love that I am, just like you are. So I am soul, you are soul. I am love, you are love. And soul and love are the God and the Goddess. Peace out.